stories. Okay, hi. Hey guys, I'm back. I'm Leila Thomasone, love stylist and marriage alchemist. And today I wanted to talk. I tweeted out about this comment that has everybody confused, so I thought I would explain some more. What I said, and I'll read it here, is if I don't just lose my spot here. What I said is one of the dangerous side effects of a woman without proper support in relationships is she becomes skeptical and eventually disenchanted with a man simply for the fact that he loves her and is willing to commit to her. I even see this happen in Christian circles. And get support, ladies. So that was my tweet. That was my message. And this was really confusing to a lot of people, especially guys, but I feel like women don't even understand what's happening in this phenomenon. I feel like if you understood what was happening, like you could figure out a way around it, right? So I'm totally happy to explain. And I did get another comment in there. So yeah, so just to say what I mean by that is that this might manifest as like people interpret it as in different ways, right? So there's a lot of like red pill guy circles that'll call this hypergamy, and like as soon as she finds something better, then she'll be gone. Or women will interpret it as like the guy wasn't really as great as she thought he was, maybe. So there's these surface level interpretations going on. But what I see from the back end of women's transformations into, a permanent, solid relationship, a marriage, is that we need social reinforcement for our mate, right? I feel like I'm not probably the best one to explain why this is the case, but it's just sort of one of those nature versus nurture, biological, feminine, masculine things that like women want to see proof, right? That their guy is as great as they think he is at first. And then as you go along, those feelings can waver. And the best way I can explain this is that you don't want to be in a club, you don't want to be part of a club that would have you as a member. You know that saying? I think it was like Mark Twain or somebody said that. And this is really, really common because women have insecurities. It's just sort of the way we're wired. Like we want the man to like be better than us, right? But we also want to really be loved and pampered and taken care of. And so if he's actually giving us the kind of love that we want, then we're like automatically skeptical, like, okay, what's wrong with you? Or what, this sounds horrible. I know it does. And it really is in a way. But so my interpretation from the side that I'm on is that we need support. We need wise, older people, women especially, in good relationships, good marriages, our parents. We need the social community to reinforce when a guy is good, when you should keep the guy around. Like if you like go into a relationship thinking he's so great, we need backup that says, yes, you're right, he is that great. Is this making sense? So because none of us are perfect, we're so different as men and women, like it's really hard for us to get a very good gauge on how wonderful our partner might be when we know that our hormones and our emotions are really messing with our perception. Does that make sense? So you're skeptical of your own judgment, right? And I think in our culture, so this comment that I got, I think it's more important that she has good discernment and can make good decisions on her own. What I mean is everyone who supports her is going to be throwing her advice, not all of it good, even from those who care about her. She has to sift the good from the bad on her own. Okay, so there's 2 points being covered here. One is that she needs to make good decisions on her own. And this yes, okay, but when it's something you haven't ventured into yet, when it's something that's unfamiliar, that when it's something that's so fraught with your own like hormones and emotions, I don't think you can really say that you should be the only one having the responsibility to make that a good decision. You know what I mean? Like, you need some checks and balances and some support, some wiser people. Um, okay, sorry, I don't understand that question. Um, so you need some more objective third party advice. And so the second part of that question or comment is that it's some people just give you bad advice, which I totally agree with. This is very important point. So you need to make sure as a woman that your network of support, you need to have one, especially you need women that you can rely on. But that they need to be chosen based on them having the kind of relationship that you're looking for. If they're single and floundering, if they're divorced and, damaged and traumatized and they don't know which way's up either, please, please don't take advice from them. If they're happily married, it's very true that they may not know exactly why or how they got into a happy marriage. This is very, very typical. People just think they're lucky, especially when they got married young. But honestly, that's not the whole story. Your family, your parents, the support system, and the structure that you grow up in, whether you have a church, whether you have a tight-knit neighborhood community, whether it's the school you go to, that's going to have a really big impact on what are those patterns that you're learning before you like the things that you're calling luck, the things that you can't identify, they are being taught to you from a very, very young age. And it's just in such a way that you're absorbing it. You're not conscious. You're not aware of it being a lesson or a thing that you're learning. Does that make sense? So just very, just like osmosis that you're absorbing, especially relationship patterns. I think relationship patterns, like we're really good at questioning a lot of what we learn from previous generations. When we go to school, we learn fresh new information. We go online and do searches, and it's like no problem with rewriting that old information with new information. But in terms of relationships, if you really haven't delved into the philosophy, the theory, the psychology of it all, like I have, then you're not going to be as aware of what are the ingredients and the factors that are causing a good or bad relationship. So that's why you need the older, wiser people that have been through it and do have a little bit of perspective as to how they came about having a good relationship, or they can just tell you, this is what I would do. If there's somebody that has enough confidence to say that, and you trust them because you see that they have the good relationship that you're looking for, you can just ask them what they would do. You don't have to ask them what they think of your situation and specifically for you. You can just try to model the patterns that are evidenced in their life that work, if that makes sense. So I totally agree that you need to be discerning on whose advice you take on relationships, but I do not agree that you should be making these decisions completely on your own. All throughout history, we've always had a lot of family input and involvement, and I'm not saying that's always been good, but it's how we're wired, that we do need that social reinforcement to be confident in our choice of a mate. And so what I was saying is that women get insecure, especially very insecure women, but also kind of more normal women will get insecure when a man has shown that they're willing to commit to her, and it can come out in like nitpicking that she criticizes, she's critical of him and can eventually start to detach and push him away because she's so skeptical of her own judgment and, you know, her own ability to attract the kind of love that she actually really wants. And if he's giving it to her, then she's, like I said, skeptical that he is good enough, if that makes sense. So, and you can see how this works. It's in abusive relationships, because if you only believe that somebody who pushes you away is good enough for you, then you're going to end up in an abusive relationship, right? That will be the only kind of relationship that you can accept. Is this making sense? Because the logic is, and I know it's not actually rational, but that that the thought process is, if he wants to treat me like a princess, then he must not be good enough for me. Therefore, a guy who wants to push me away and treat me badly must be too good for me, and therefore I will accept him. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's twisted, it's irrational in a lot of ways, but it does kind of make sense if you realize that women need the social reinforcement of their network to confirm or to just sort of prove and justify to her that he is of good standing, that the man who wants her is really good enough for her standards. Does that make sense? I could keep going on and on, but that's all I wanted to tackle in this topic today. So let me know if you have any questions. Please share, like, subscribe, all of that. And if you have more comments, then I will certainly do another video and explain in more detail if that would be helpful. So thank you for watching. Again, I'm Leela Thomasone, love stylist and marriage alchemist, and I will see you next time.